I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Well, I had a friend that was worried. And we all worry about stuff from time to time, don't we? And well, don't worry right now. Everything is good right now, right? Well, a friend of mine told me about a time that he was really worried because he was going to have his gallbladder removed. And he was worried and concerned about the operation. So he went to a friend of his who was a vet. And he said, you know, what can you tell me that's going to happen, and what should I think about going into the surgery? And his friend, the vet, said, well, try not to focus on the surgery, right? Try and think of something else, and don't worry about it until you're actually there. That's pretty good advice, yeah? And then he said, and don't jump to negative conclusions about how your surgery is going to turn out. Just trust that everything is going to be okay. Simple, yeah? And thirdly, don't lick your incision. Well, that's what happens when you go to a vet, right? And you ask for medical advice. Actually, you know, that advice is pretty good. And so when my friend told me the story, I thought, I'm going to write a talk about this. So this talk is based upon the instructions from this vet. You know, in Unity, we practice affirmative prayer. And affirmative prayer works because of the law of mind action, right? Which is thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Or what we think about, we bring about. And I like to think that affirmative prayer sets into motion the forces that enable us to manifest what we pray for. And when we pray affirmative, we use positive statements reflecting the certainty that we are being led to our highest good, despite temporary appearances and things that may not look like it's going to turn out okay. When we pray affirmatively, we don't pray to change God, God forbid, but we pray to change our perception of a situation and release any limited beliefs or thoughts that we might have or be holding about the situation or about ourselves. So the talk today is titled, Worrying is Praying for Something You Don't Want. Worrying really is, if you think about it, it's negative prayer, which still uses the law of mind action because we're still thinking about it, and it therefore brings into manifestation that which we are worrying about. And worrying is also using the power of visualization, because oftentimes when we're worried about something, can't you see it? Right? Can't you see how this negative outcome is going to happen and how it's going to affect you? So worry is wishing or praying for what we don't want. We know that thoughts are magnets, right? Thoughts are energy. Thoughts are a vibration that we put out to the universe, and they attract back to us. More and more neuroscientists and metaphysical people are telling us that we send out a vibration, and that vibration moves out and comes back to us in that same vibration. So fearful thoughts create a fearful reality. I like to say that energy flows where attention goes. What we focus our attention on, our energy on, we are contributing to positive or we're contributing to negative. So when we focus on what we do not want, it's more likely to come to pass. When we worry, we send out a signal to the universe that attracts our worry. And our focus over time creates our future. Now, someone asked me one time, so does that mean that every thought I have is going to produce a result? And most people would agree that it's not every thought that you think that creates, but it's the preponderance of things that we think about that create our world and attract that back to us. The truth is, and the essence of what we're talking about today, we're talking about how can we, what can we do when we have worry? And a lot of us worry without even being aware that we're worrying. Right? And if we want to do something about our worry, because we know worry affects our consciousness, it affects how we experience life. So the most important thing about this is to become aware when you're worrying, right? To be mindful. And we talk a lot about being mindful, which is really about being present and aware of what's happening in every moment. So what we're going to talk about today only works if we are determined to stop worrying or to change the focus of our worrying. And in order to do that, we have to be like, oh, shoot, I'm worrying. Right? I'm finding myself in this loop of worrying. And you might have discovered that if you get in this loop of worrying, do you ever find it just goes around and 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 around, and you keep worrying, you keep worrying, you keep worrying, you keep worrying. So when that happens, you can say, I'm going to show you how to do this, how you can say, stop, that's not working for me, I'm going to do something else. And the ultimate goal, of course, is to get to a place where when you are worrying about something that you catch yourself, right? So it doesn't become this endless loop, but you can say, oh, I'm worrying, I'm going to stop it right now. So one of the things that I like to use is, let's look at the vet's instructions. There we go. Okay, I said I jumped ahead of myself. And when you jump ahead of yourself, then I started worrying about it. And then I'm like worrying about it so much that I forgot that I hadn't showed this slide yet. And you get in all kinds of craziness. You ever notice? When we worry about something, we get distracted and we're not paying attention and not being in the moment. And I just showed you how to do that. But that's not what I'm here to show you about today. So let's look back at the vet's instructions. First of all, try not to focus on the surgery. Don't jump to negative conclusions about how your surgery will turn out, and don't lick your wounds. So let's take these one at a time. So first of all, the first one is don't focus on the upcoming surgery. What this means is that we want to redirect our attention to something that's more important to us or more valuable or more significant in the moment. Right? So we're sort of saying to the worry, I see you, you're over here, but I'm going to take my attention and put it over here. And I like to call this the spotlight technique. Right? Because when we're anxious and worrying about something, it can be difficult to turn our mind off. But what we can do instead is to redirect our thinking and put our thinking on something else. And this is the spotlight technique. So the thing to do is, instead of trying to worry about all the worriness and get caught up in the loop of worriness, just to say, okay, I'm going to change that. And I'll tell you how to do that. If you can imagine that in your mind, you have a spotlight, right? And your mind is like a stage, right? And over on this part of the stage, there's all this worrying stuff going on. And you can focus your attention on that part of the stage in your mind, or you can say, you know what, that's not working to me. That's not working for me. That's not where I want to be. I want to be over here. And we can literally change our mind and by changing our focus of what we are spotlighting. And imagine that we're focusing focusing on the thing that has higher interest for us, something that we really want to be spending our energy on, as opposed to the worry, which gets us in this loop and frankly doesn't get anything done. So, over here we might be thinking, oh, I'm going to die, or nobody likes me, or do people really think that I'm all this silly? Do people think that I'm really weird? And when that happens, you go, oh, I'm taking that spotlight and I'm moving it over here, and realizing that, oh, I'm peaceful, I'm kind, I'm present, I'm loving, or I'd rather than thinking about all this stuff, I'd rather be thinking about the things that I love to do. I'd rather be playing my ukulele for me. I'd rather be writing a lesson. I'd rather be reading a book. I'd rather be present in the moment with the person I'm talking to. Right? You're talking to this person and it's blah, 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 and your mind is someplace else, right? Right? You're not even paying attention. And you're hoping that they never stop talking, because when they do, you're not going to know what to say, right? So because your mind is so focused on the worrying, and instead if you could do that and say, you know what this person is here with me, that is really important, and I'm changing my focus, and I'm going to be right here present with them right now. And what's beautiful about this technique is the more that you use it, the more it starts to work for you. We're actually training our minds how we're going to think, right? And I don't know about you, but I have a wild mind, and it's going from one thing to another all the time. So this is a great technique to say to your mind, I love you, this is what you want to pay attention to, but I'm in charge here, and this is what I want to put my attention on. So that's the spotlight technique. It takes practice, and you won't get it right away, but I invite you to try it. So, and the second bit of advice that the vet had was to don't jump to negative conclusions about how your surgery is going to turn out. Or don't jump to negative conclusions about what you're worrying about. There's a great story that I like. You've probably heard it before, about a wise farmer. And he tended his farm and his crops for many years. And then one day, unexpectedly, his horse ran away into the mountains. And his friends who came to visit him a lot said, oh, we're so sorry. Oh, that's so terrible what happened to you, that your horse ran away. Oh, we feel so sad for you. You must feel terrible. And the farmer said, we'll see. The next morning, to the farmer's surprise, the horse returned, and it brought 3 wild horses with it. And the farmer's neighbors came by and they said, oh, that's so great. You have these beautiful new wild horses. We're so happy for you. Oh, you must feel great. And the farmer said, we'll see. And the following day, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses. The horse was untamed, and it threw the son, and he fell off and broke his leg. And the neighbors came by and they said, oh, farmer, we are so sorry. That is so sad. We feel so bad for your son and for you, for your son having to have broken leg, and now you have to take care of him. And the farmer said, we'll see. The next day, military officials came by, and they were recruiting men for the army. Right? And they saw the man's son, the farmer's son, and that he had a broken leg, and so they didn't recruit him. And the neighbors came by, and they're like, oh, that is so great. We're so happy for you that your son didn't have to go into the military. And the farmer said, we'll see. So this is actually a Zen story, and it demonstrates how the wisdom of not jumping to conclusions. Have you ever worried about something and found out later it never happened? Right? Right? We spend all this time and all this energy worrying about the things that are going to happen in our lives, right? And, how am I going to be when I talk to this person? Or how am I going to be when I make this presentation? Or how am I going to be when I walk into this group of people I don't know, right? All this craziness comes at us, and we worry about it instead of just saying, we'll see what happens. We can tell our minds this. When it's getting in this loop, it's like, oh, we'll see. You're telling me all this crazy stuff over here, and it's like, we'll see. Maybe that won't happen. We'll see. According to Buddhists, we worry because we need to be able to predict what's going to happen. Right? We think that we get power, we are powerful when we can say, you know what, I know what's going to happen in this situation. Right? I can make a prediction that this is going to happen, and therefore I'm prepared for it. And we get all flustered, and we spend all this energy, and then most of the time, nothing happens. Right? And we get all worked up about it. I don't know, when I was in sales, how many times I worried about having to make a presentation the next day and had trouble sleeping, right? Because I was so worried about having to make this presentation. And when I got there, it was easy, right? And we think somehow, our mind thinks that going through all this worrying is going to make us more prepared, when all it really does is make us exhausting. It's common in our society to think that and put emphasis on our intelligence, right? Because we know that our intelligence is such an incredible tool, but it can be harmful if we begin to overthink. When we make up scenarios in our mind and convince ourselves that these scenarios are true, even without enough data or a proper assessment of the situation, our ego hijacks our imagination and jumps into fear-based assumptions. So imagination, this great thing that we have, this amazing ability that we have to imagine, grabs onto this fear and twists the fear into the imagination, and all of a sudden we are having some great worrying, aren't we? Isn't that great? No, not so much. So when we get into this worrying place, we can say to our mind, we'll see. Worry, 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 worry. We'll see. Worry, 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 we'll see. And we can find that we can take a breath and be in the space, be in the moment of creativity. Someone said, worry is the dark room where negatives are developed. Isn't that awesome? Mark Twain said, I've lived through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. When our minds give us something to worry about, instead of buying into it, we can say, we'll see. We'll see. So, someone humorously said that over 90% of the things that we worry about never happen. Kind of makes you think, well, I should worry more then, right? If they're not going to happen anyway, what the heck? So the third instruction, I love this one, from the vet, is to don't lick your incisions, or don't perpetuate your worries, and focus on things that are going well. To me, this means to stop paying attention to the sores that we get, right? Things happen, we get hurt emotionally, we get hurt physically, and there is value in paying attention to the hurt initially, right? Putting antibiotic on it, or putting a Band-Aid on it, or loving yourself when something difficult happens. But the key is not to keep licking the wound, right? Don't keep focusing on the thing that happened that was uncomfortable. And you can use the spotlight technique and put your thinking on something else. What about putting the spotlight technique from the worries on the things that you're grateful for, right? We know that being grateful attracts to us the things that we're grateful for, right? Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. What we think about comes to us. So instead of going and being a worry wart, be a gratitude giant. Or I can't think, what's another word which starts with a G that we can say for Does that start with a G? Somebody said junkie. It sounds the same, and if somebody wasn't paying attention, they might go, no, that's a really good one, yeah. So we'll be a gratitude junkie. Oh, a guru, yes. A gratitude guru. Can you feel that? I'm a gratitude guru. I'm going to move from being a worry wart to a gratitude guru. Wow. You all should show up when I write this stuff. It'd be a lot more helpful. But it's kind of fun we created here in the moment too as well, yeah? So Winston Churchill said, when I look back on all these worries, I remember the story of an old man who said on his deathbed that he had a lot of trouble in his life, most of which never happened. Eckhart Tolle puts it really well too. He says, worry pretends to be necessary, right? But serves no purpose. Right? And can you, when you're in it, don't you just feel like, oh, this is so important. I'm getting such a download of something valuable that's screwing up my consciousness and keeping me stuck over here. It's time to change the download, right? And move it over to here where we realize that worry doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't perpetuate us moving towards that which we desire. So, according to our vet's instructions, when you find yourself burdened with worry, remember the advice of my friend's vet. Redirect your attention to something important to you in the moment. Something that you want to do that's productive, that you love, that's going to bring you passion, right? And just take that spotlight and move it over here. The second thing is don't jump to negative conclusions, right? Realize you don't want to be a worry wart. You want to be a guru, and to focus in on the last one, to focus on things that are going well. So focus on, oh, wow, I've got so many great things happening in my life. Even in the midst of the most challenging things that we have, there's always something that we can be grateful for. Right? To be grateful for the people that we are, the spiritual beings that we are in these physical bodies. To be grateful for our relationships. To be grateful for the ability to love. To be grateful for the ability to realize that we have the power to change our lives. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to connect with your infinite self, with that power and the love and the truth and the essence of who you are. Wow. Human beings are so powerful. And you have that power to be present, to love, to be passionate, to be creative. So just breathe into that. You can change your thoughts in the blink of an eye. Why not use this ability to your advantage and let go of those prayers of worry and focus on the things that your spirit wants for you, that light within you, that presence of God, of truth that exists within you, that recognizes that you are an amazingly powerful person. And follow the advice and connect to that truth. I am free from all worry and anxiety. I know that all things are working for my highest good. Say that with me. I am free from all worry and anxiety. I know that all things are working for my highest good. Let's take a breath, and I'm going to invite Yana and Robin up to do this beautiful chant by Karen Drucker, Faith Rivera, and David Roth.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free. As I continue walking in this mystery, I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day. And I am kinder every moment, every day.
I invite you to close your eyes. Breathing into this moment. Relaxing. Following the breath inside to the center of your being, into the heart. Breathing in and breathing out. Letting go of all thoughts, all worries, and just being in this moment. Knowing that this is a safe place to be. Breathing in, breathing out. And just imagine for a moment something that worries you. And just hold it lovingly. Knowing that perhaps even this thing was beneficial at some time, this belief, this thought. But now it's time to let it go. And you might imagine that you move it from this place of energy into a softer place, into a place of transformation in your mind. And you might imagine that your mind is like a stage. And you are the operator of the spotlight. And on one side of the stage is all the worries. And on the other side is that which your soul desires. That which holds you with love in this moment. And as you breathe in and exhale, imagine that you can change the focus of the spotlight and move it over to the other side of the stage where your truth lives, your creativity lives, your joy lives, your power lives. Where there is something that you want to put your attention on, something that feeds your soul. It might even be just to be in this moment. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you focus on this part of the stage of your mind, imagine something that you're grateful for. For the love in your life, for the peace, for the joy, for your intelligence, for your spiritual connection. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you focus on that which you desire, feel the feeling of holding it. Feel the joy. Feel the power and the lightness. Feel the strength that comes from being present, by being able to choose that which you focus on. Breathing in and breathing out. And let's rest just for a moment in the silence. Breathing in, breathing out. Feeling the comfortable relaxation of this moment. Imagine how you will be as you direct your mind, as you are able to control your thoughts, as you are able to let go of worries and pray for things that empower you. Imagine the beauty of the world. To live in a world where all of us are aware of being present and being grateful. And breathing in, breathing out, I invite you to begin to bring your awareness back to this moment. To be aware of the music and this beautiful space that we share. The breeze, even the traffic. And what a wonderful world it will be. And I'd like to invite you to prepare your love offerings. And we get the pleasure of giving you the opportunity to give as a way of expressing your love and your acceptance. I believe that as we give, we receive, right? So as we give to the places that inspire us spiritually, we do a couple things. We help that person, the organization, Unity on Maui, help it to thrive so that we can continue to come and be a part of it. And when we give, we create a vacuum, right? Because we've given something and we open ourselves up to receive. And so it's our hope that today that our message has an impact on your life and changes it in some way so that you become more powerful. And so thank you for giving. So we'll say our offering blessing, and then the ushers will come around and collect. And I'd like to also thank all of you for being here on Facebook this morning and later on YouTube. It's great to have you with us. And you can be givers too by going to our website, which is www.unityonmaui.org. And there is a button you can click on to easily and safely give to us. And thank you in advance for that. All right, so as we hold our gifts, let's affirm and pray together our prayer and affirmation of prosperity, which begins, through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Namaste.
We're on. So while you're preparing your beautiful offerings, I'd like to offer this song. It was actually inspired by a gratitude affirmation that I heard many years ago when I attended. So some of you may know the words, and maybe you remember the tune, because I did offer it years ago, and you're welcome to sing along. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am and all that I am, all that I give and all I receive. I am joy-filled, I am joy-filled, I am joy-filled and grateful. joy-filled, I am joy-filled, I am joy-filled and grateful. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies, blesses and multiplies. Divine love as me blesses and all that I am, all that I have, and all that I have, all that I give, all that I and receive, and all I am joy-filled, I am joy-filled, I am joy-filled, I am joy-filled and grateful. I am joy-filled, I am joy-filled, I am joy-filled and grateful. And so it is. Mahalo.
Thank you, Yana. I hope it's not going to be another 2 years before you come around again.
I hope not.
So let's give thanks. Loving Spirit, we're so thankful and grateful for these gifts that have come to us in love. We hold them, we bless them, and we give thanks for them, knowing that they're moving through this congregation, through this ministry, and out into the world. And we behold a world that's filled with life, filled with love, filled with power, and with joy. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. All right, I've got just a couple announcements today, more than a couple, but not too many. The first one is, if you are totally welcome to bring flowers on Sunday morning to help to decorate our platform, which is where we're standing. And you can sign up to bring flowers. And there's a sign-up sheet next to our prayer box in the back, and you can sign up for the date you want to bring them and for who you'd like us to hold in memory or in celebration of that day. It could be yourself, could be somebody's birthday, or whatever it is. So thank you for doing that. And also, we have revitalized our compassion team, and we are reaching out to our community and beyond with love and help to people that have perhaps a need. And you can join the compassion team by talking to Joy or to Kailani, who is just out here collecting the money. So she's being very compassionate right now. And so if you're interested, you can do that, and it's a great gift that we offer to our community. And also, we have a couple events coming up. Mike Fleenor is sort of heading our social activities right now. And so a couple things coming up. First of all, there is a, what can I say here? A bowling on January 28th. I guess that's next Saturday from 1 to 4. And it took me the longest time to figure out there was a bowling alley on Maui. Did you know there was a bowling alley on Maui? And it's here in Wailuku. Emily and I went to a dance class a couple years ago, and we're walking out of the dance class, and we're hearing bowling balls and pins crashing, and here's this cute little bowling alley. And so you can go there and enjoy bowling. So call Mike if you're interested in doing that. And also, Carrie Sawyer is doing a sound bath meditation with her bowls on Saturday, February 4th from 4 to 5 p.m. And she just invites you to bring a yoga mat to do that with. And it is for a love offering. She says no charge, but I think it's always great to give a love offering. And then lastly, Mike is sort of participating in a Friends of Kipahulu service trip to help to restore the campground and the trails and whatnot. So you can call Mike if you're interested in helping out. And it's a 3-day event, so you can go camping if you like. And it says bring a cot. How many people sleep on cots when they camp anymore? Anybody? Anybody go camping anymore? Okay. All right. And The Course in Miracles class has been canceled or put on hold for right now until there is more interest. And if you are interested in doing that, Linda is right here, and she would love to hear about it if you'd like to see that group and you would participate in the group. Let her know. Also, on Thursdays, right here, we have a meditation from 12 until 12:30, and I've been doing the loving kindness meditation. I'll do that this next week, and then I'll be gone for a couple weeks on vacation, and I'll let you know next week what's going to happen during that same time frame. And then Kailani has a workshop coming up. Come up, Kailani, tell us a little bit about the workshop you're doing. Actually, Kailani's involved in it, Virgie's involved in it, Robin is involved in it, and it'll be a lot of fun. So tell us what's happening.
Woohoo! Thank you. Amazing message, beautiful music. It's the Gift of Soul Healing workshop is going to be next Saturday. And I do have flyers in the back and how you can get a hold of me. But it will be from 12 to 1. There will be chakra yoga, as well as Carrie will be doing sound bowls. And then during the workshop, myself, Dr. Virgie Cantorna, I'll be doing a Q&A with Monica Morrow, a beautiful young woman who has such a great story of going from the worst of the worst things that could happen in your life to a place of power and then serving the world. Also, Robin will be doing music. One of our local Tanama, she'll be there as well. And Eli and Elizabeth will be with us as well. But there are flyers in back. And just very briefly, a lot of times we focus on, as Reverend Blaine was talking about today, those things that we worry about. And what we're going to get to is a lot of the core beliefs of what we learned when we were younger, what experiences taught us, how we felt unloved or unworthy, or like we would be abandoned and not provided for. And so we'll get to those things that a lot of times are the very roots of why we worry or why we live small and don't fulfill our greatest purpose in our own life and then back to the world. And most of you that know, I am at almost 65 years old, on my journey to my PhD in psychology. And I had to work through a lot of stuff to get to the place where I believed it was possible. And so this is what this is about, really discovering. I've counseled with people who were raised in poor and broken homes that had issues. I've counseled with teenagers that were millionaire kids that wanted to take their life. So it impacts all of us. And so we get to the root of those things and then how we can change and live out the total highest being and good of not only ourselves, but then how we turn and give those services and gifts back to the world. So come join us. I'll see you after service if you want more information.
Great, thank you. Well, next week, my talk is titled, "The Wound is the Place Where the Light Enters You." You might remember, you probably heard part of this quote, but I'll read the whole quote that Rumi wrote. He wrote, "I said, 'What about my eyes?' He said, 'Keep them on the road.' I said, 'What about my passion?' He said, 'Keep it burning.' I said, 'What about my heart?' He said, 'Tell me what you hold inside it.' I said, 'Pain and sorrow.' He said, 'Pain and sorrow, stay with it. The wound is the place where the light enters you.'" Ram Dass wrote, "Healing does not mean going back to the way things were before, but rather allowing what is now to move us closer to God." So my question next week is going to be, are you ready to be healed? Have you danced around enough with something going on in your mind, in your life, that you've been putting off healing, and is now the time to deal with it? So we're going to look at that next week and trying to identify what some of those wounds are so that we can allow the light to enter it and experience healing. I guess you've noticed kind of a theme around here, isn't it? It's kind of, Unity New Thought is kind of it's a healing ministry, and this is the work that we do to heal the thoughts and the beliefs that we're holding so that we can experience the fullness of who we are. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. So that'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And also, next Sunday, two of my good friends, Bob Baker and Pookie Lee, are two musicians from St. Louis that, I had two churches in St. Louis before I came here, and they both performed at both of my churches when I was there. They're really dear people, and you will love them. And so every week I summarize everything I talked about, and I put it in what I call a walk your talk. And it looks like this, but it's blue today. No, it's green. It's back on the back table. And if you'd like to take one home so you can remember what we talked about, you're certainly welcome to do that. And so why don't we stand? And if a few of you would like to come up here on the platform with me, that'd be great. We're going to show our folks back home, or who are sitting at home, or wherever they are, how much fun we're having. And so we'll say the prayer of protection together, and then I'll bid us adieu, and then we'll bring, we'll sing the prayer of protection, or what?
The peace song. The peace song.
Thank
We're going
you.
to sing the peace song.
Need some help up here. All right, so let's pray the prayer of protection together. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. So God bless you, friends. Thank you for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure being with you. Thank you for the work that you do in the world. And we'll see you next time. Aloha.
Where I live, there are rain.